If there's one thing that's important to Kacey Musgraves, it's being authentic.
You would really prefer not to have the career you have than to have a hit song and not be proud of it.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine something more excruciating. This has to go on the album. It won't be complete without it. And they were like, you're gonna go down in flames for this? And I was like, you know what? I don't really care. At least it'd be for something that I really love.
And with this trait, Kacey has carved out a successful music career, pushing boundaries with her own version of country music. But authenticity comes with its own struggles. With the topics she discusses, being a woman in a male-dominated genre and maintaining true to herself despite major life changes, Kacey always remains herself. Despite adversity and life's many transformations, Kacey Musgraves always chooses authenticity. This is her story. If there's one thing that matters to Kacey Musgraves, it's
ultimate musical freedom for myself. I just want to stay authentic to myself and whatever that means.
But early on, she often came up against opposition, trying to acquire and keep it.
Starting out, I found myself being told that I really shouldn't write about certain things. Weed, homosexuality, most of my observations on society in general. I was told that a debut female had to release something upbeat. Oh, we need something that everyone's gonna like.
One story she often tells in interviews exemplifies this.
So I really fought for my first single, which was Merry Go Round. I'm willing to go down in flames for the song which you're saying isn't gonna work. I wouldn't feel proud of myself if I altered this, to try and sell more. And I was actually met with the word for word response. This is from a grown man, one that runs a company. Sometimes in this business, you just gotta do things that you're not proud of. And I said, that's where me and you are very different.
And Kacey is different. Part of that is because she's a woman in a very male-dominated genre, country music. Thankfully, Kacey had role models in the genre.
But of course, I did have a couple other teachers, Loretta Lynn and Miss Dolly Parton. They're writers. They wrote about real things. Birth control, women's libido, gasp, husbands that drink. Even if the subject matter was thought to be controversial and banned by radio, they had the courage to stay true to these visions in the face of this disapproval, especially at that time. It must have required some gigantic balls.
In 2013, Kacey showcased her own gigantic balls by releasing an album with 2 singles the record execs didn't like. The first is Merry Go Round, a song that tackles traditional family values and drug use. And the second, Follow Your Arrow, is a song mentioning the LGBT community and slut shaming. Many told her that she'd go down in flames for these singles. She responded by winning the Grammy Award for Best Country Album. And she wasn't done breaking boundaries. After showing how she could do so lyrically with Same Trailer, Different Park and pageant material, Kacey would push the country genre sonically with 2018's Golden Hour.
With songs like High Horse veering into pop and electronic music. And it's garnered huge critical and popular support.
With this record, I was like, I want to reach beyond country music and not leave country music behind. I want to take it with me. I want to take my version of it to people who normally would never even consider listening to it.
Adding pop and electronic music to a very traditional genre? That surely couldn't have worked out. Oh, wait.
Golden Hour, Kacey Musgraves!
These risks could have not paid off, but to Musgraves, it wouldn't have mattered.
I would rather have less fans that really know what I'm about than massive amount of fans that have this watered down or fake idea of kind of what I am.
So Kacey Musgraves was able to maintain artistic integrity and is rewarded for it too. Over the course of 5 years, Kacey won 6 Grammys and expanded her fan base by creating her own genre of country music. Even her relationships were going well, as she was now married to the love of her life, Rustin Kelly. What could go wrong? The divorce was a tragic gut punch for Kacey, but not just because of the relationship. Kacey's last album, Golden Hour, was a highlight reel of commemorative loving moments in Kacey and Rustin's relationship. Now what was she supposed to write about? Well, she channeled her pain into art. Kacey wrote songs about the divorce, theming it in a Shakespearean tragedy dressing, and titled the album Star-Crossed. Although it was hard for her to work through the relationship struggles, it was also incredibly rewarding.
I think that there is always reward in choosing to be the most vulnerable. In doing so, I just think that, the whole point of it is human connection.
Yeah.
And seeing messages from people around the globe saying man, I've gone through the same thing that you have.
Yeah.
Through this process, a little closer to humanity in some ways. You can be the golden hour girl, and you can have rose-colored glasses and experience this earth-shattering love, and you can experience the antithesis of that, and that is life.
Unfortunately, some critics and fans didn't quite feel the same way. Unlike her previous heavily lauded Golden Hour, Star-Crossed was met with mixed reviews.
This Kacey Musgraves made one of the most tepid and uninspired worthless pieces of garbage I've ever seen. These songs don't feel like they come from an emotionally complex person. It feels AI generated and it shows.
Man, is it a very special way to top off a record that was easily one of the most difficult listens I've had of anything this year. Feeling a decent 2 strong 2.
And as if that weren't enough, the Grammys made the album ineligible to be nominated because it wasn't country enough. Everyone has a right to their opinion, and music is of course subjective. But one criticism of this album is very hard to understand. Star-Crossed isn't authentic. One can easily see it wasn't the album that fans and critics expected. But does that make it inauthentic? At its core, authenticity is being genuine. Being yourself. And what's most important to Kacey?
So what matters?
Being able to express myself creatively, creative freedom for myself, total creative freedom, the ability to say no without guilt.
But yeah, I mean, it is scary being vulnerable and opening yourself up to the opinions of others, you know, the criticisms of something that is a very deeply personal moment in your life. But it was an album that I had to make regardless if anybody else liked it. It was a release for me emotionally. Really, like at the end of the day, all that matters.
At the end of the day for Kacey, it was an album she had to make. You don't like it? Take it or leave it. This album was for her. And we're seeing the same Kacey now in her single Deeper Well. In this song, her lyrics reference how she's letting go of negative energy and negative people from her life. In addition, she talks about ceasing to smoke weed to find deeper connections that are important to her. We see Kacey continues not to care what others think, even to the point where she'll let go of those who doubt and try to hold her back. As she said before,
I would rather have less fans that really know what I'm about than like massive amount of fans that have this watered down or like fake idea of kind of what I am.
in a world where many choose to spin their personality or market themselves in a certain way, Kacey chooses to be authentic. No matter what the world thinks, no matter what the expectations the world throws at her, she'll continue to follow her arrow towards a deeper well of fulfillment. I'm Bill Cooper, and as always, I love you all.